Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Now we come to part 2 of our discussion on the methods to develop Waqf land, on Waqf and housing. Okay, some of the common methods to develop Waqf land is to rent the land, sewakan, we can also sublet the land, so we get the rental. So we use the rental to provide the to benefit the beneficiaries, and we can also lease the land. Okay, we can also sublease and create sublease. So this is allowed. So this is what we call ijara. Okay, so the rental from the lease can be used to give manfaat to the beneficiaries. Okay, and we can use long lease hukur, and also we can benefit from the rental for the beneficiaries. We can also do or raise crowdfunding, what we call as cash wakaf. Wakaf tunai. Okay, so wakaf tunai is allowed in Malaysia through a fatwa made by Majlis Fatwa Kebangsaan in 2007. Okay, so we can raise the fund to be the capital, and based on the capital we develop the wakaf land. Okay, so that's one of the ways. But sometimes in order to build houses, for example, it requires a lot of money, so we use wakaf tunai. Sometimes it is not that practical, because we may need to wait for some time, and in order to raise the amount that are needed for the development. Okay, and we can also use wakaf share. Okay, where wakaf sukuk, where the land will be open for sale, and the purchaser who bought the land will then later on wakaf his share of the land to the Majlis Agama Islam, or to the developer. So also that can be a basis to raise the fund to provide the capital for development of wakaf. Okay? And we can also, if we have the money, we can maybe based on the wakaf tunai, we can build shop lots, buildings, and rent out the building to the tenant. Okay, so we have cases where sometimes the tenants misunderstood the concept of wakaf, where the tenant refused to pay the rental on the belief that wakaf land should be for free to help the needy. So in this will be the challenges, but inshallah, through proper education awareness, people will understand the true concept of wakaf, that is to help the needy. But in order to help the needy, we have to sustain the wakaf. Okay, we have to maintain the mawkuf, so that we can ensure that the benefit can be enjoyed by the beneficiaries forever. Okay, so that is one of the important duty of the mutawalli, or the trustee of the wakaf, to sustain the property, to protect the property, and at the same time to make sure that the property will benefit the beneficiaries. Okay, right. Okay, so we will look at what are the principle related to wakaf land, because when we want to build houses on wakaf land, we must know some of the basic principle that we have to preserve, because we have to look at the development from various perspectives, subject to other various laws. Okay, all right. So let's take, for example, in the case where the land which is belong to Ma'in, and Ma'in want to develop the land to become a housing estate. Okay, to build houses on the land. So what Ma'in can do is that Ma'in can lease the land, if it is freehold land, which is land which is forever. Okay, so Ma'in can lease the land for up to 99 years. Okay, so we follow the principle under the National Land Code. Okay, under the National Land Code, when the state authority alienate a piece of land, it is either forever. Okay, the duration of the alienation is forever, which we call it freehold land, or leasehold land. Okay, after 1987, there's no more freehold land unless for special circumstances. Section 76 of the National Land Code say that land can only be alienated for special or for forever or in perpetual for special circumstances, for special reason. So in the case of Waqf land, so if we want to lease the land, so the maximum period is 99 years. If it is a leasehold land, it is already a leasehold Waqf land. So Ma'in can lease out to the maximum of whatever period that they have. If the balance of the lease is 90 years, so Ma'in can lease for up to 89 years, 360 days, for example. Okay, so this is the principle that we have to make sure before we decide to lease the land. Okay, so we have to look at the balance of the lease for the lot. Okay, and the second principle is that the land will remain under Ma'in. Okay, because Ma'in is the main mutawali, the sole mutawali. Okay, so Ma'in must all the time remain as the trustee, as the mutawali. Okay, so it cannot be transferred. So even though the land is leased, so land remain under Ma'in. And since it is a lease, and since the Waqf enactment has no specific provision with regard to lease procedures, therefore we have to adopt the procedures under the National Land Code. So for lease to be registered, it has to fill in Form 15A under the National Land Code. So it's that's a statutory form for lease. Okay, so it has to be registered. We follow the procedures under the National Land Code, where the registration need to be registered in the land office, in the respective land office. And the land, for even for the purpose of development, the land cannot be sold. Okay, so this is the principle under Waqf. The land cannot be sold, cannot be pledged, or cannot be used as a security collateral for loan. Okay, it cannot be surrendered, it cannot be used as a gift, it cannot be passed through law of inheritance. So we have to maintain the principle. So in the case of lease, so it does not involve transfer of ownership. Okay, transfer of ownership, because the ownership in the case of Waqf belongs to Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. Even Ma'in, even SIRC is just a mutawali. Okay, it's just a trustee to manage the Waqf on behalf of the Waqif for the benefit of the beneficiaries. Okay, right. And land will be returned to Ma'in after the lease expired. So this is important principle. Whoever lease the land, okay, whoever, let's say if it involves a sale of the lease, okay, so what is sold if it involves selling of the lease, okay, so what is lease is only the right. So lease is just an interest over the land, okay. So if the owner remain with the trustee, okay, as far as the National Land Code is concerned, because we still have to register someone as the owner in that sense. Okay, all right. And the in the case of lease, we can have an option to renew the lease. Okay, at least before the expiry of the date of the lease, the lessor can renew the lease. Okay, that can renew the lease. So it's subject to the terms of the agreement between the parties. So that is basically the main principle, and of course the lessor can sublease the land, and the sublessor can also sublease the land, as long as it does not involve ownership, transfer of ownership of the land. Okay, so we try to come up with a chart in order to show how lease of Waqf land, okay, because lease can be used as a mode to finance Waqf land. Because as we mentioned earlier, SRRC has no money to develop big project. Perhaps if it is just to build mosque, perhaps a small ma'had tahfiz, perhaps we can use cash wakaf. But if in a big project like housing estate, definitely SRRC, State Islamic Religious Council, has no money for such big projects. So SRRC must JV with another company, let's say a developer, and then because SRC also has no expertise, in fact, because SRC basically its basic duty is not as a developer, so perhaps they have to JV with another developer. For example, in Malaysia, in one case in Penang, UDA has taken the initiative to act as developer in the case of, for example, Waqf Siti Aisyah. So it's a successful project. It's developed by UDA. Okay. If you look at the chart, okay, we put SRC as the mutawali, so the trustee who manage Waqaf land, and the SRC can enter into lease agreement with the developer, meaning to say the land will be leased to developer. Let's say, for example, the lease is for 90 years, for example. So the developer, in order to develop the land, okay, the Waqaf land, so has to apply for loan. Okay, has to apply for loan to BIMB. So if the developer has to use the same piece of land as a security for a loan, so what the developer is charging to the bank is not the land, but is the period of the lease, because based on the earlier agreement with the SRC, the developer is given 90 years of lease. So they can use the 90 years of lease as a collateral for the loan. Okay, so this is the important part. We need to have a financier who is agreeable, who understand the spirit of wakaf. Okay, of course, it is not popular among the among the financial institution, but an Islamic financial institution who understand the importance of wakaf must agree to accept the lease, the agreement for lease as a collateral, as a security for the loan. Okay, and with the money from the bank, the developer can build the houses, and then they follow the normal process of housing development. Okay, they must have the license to be a developer. The houses must be completed within 24 months or 36 months, depending on the type of the houses built on the land. Okay, so then the developer can sell to the purchaser. Okay, so the purchaser who want to buy the house, definitely, okay, unless in a very rare case, willing to pay cash. But for those who do not have cash, so what's the option? So the purchaser need to have the another cooperation from a bank, okay, to be the end financier, to provide the loan to the purchaser. So in this case, let's say, for example, Bank Muamalat agree to be the end financier, uh, provide the loan to Amin as the purchaser. So with that loan, Amin will be able to buy the house from the developer. So, and the developer will get back the money, and the developer will be able to pay the SIRC. Okay, so when Amin bought the house, again, there's no charge of the land, but what is used as a collateral for the loan is only the lease, the agreement for lease, right to enjoy. Okay, right of enjoyment, not right as the owner of the property. Okay, so at the end of the day, Amin will understand that after the period of the lease has expired, the property will go back to SIRC. The land will go back to SIRC together with the house. Okay, so what I mean is purchasing is only